Hey everyone, welcome to Dave and History for the Ages here. So I've never made a video like this before, reacting to the comments on my really huge video, The Political Spectrum Explained. It's gotten about 250,000 views at this point. It's got over 15,000 likes, 6,000 comments on it. And so I try really in all my other material, whenever people leave comments, I like to reply to them and stuff. I couldn't do that with 6,000. And a lot of the comments were actually held. So if you didn't see your comment up, that's kind of a whole YouTube thing. I think a lot of times just certain words like communism and Nazism, and I don't even understand the whole algorithm thing on it. But there was enough consistent comments on a few things that I wanted to address them and talk about them, which ones I thought made sense, which ones were a little bit out there. Of course, there was that one typo. Actually, there were two typos in this presentation, which is kind of funny because I try to be careful. I mean, I'm not perfect on all that, but a lot of people pointed this one out right here. You could see on approach and how it was a mistake. So here you could see I kind of I kind of remember that was one that made a typo on it. There was another one I don't know if anybody picked up on. So this was the basic idea, right? That I talked about the political spectrum and how we usually see left and right. And I talked about how it had to do with the French Revolution and why people on the left are left and right are right. And I went on to explain in my video, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, why this is not the right way to look at it. That it isn't that you go left, you get to a communist, and you go to right, you get Nazi fascism, but really they eventually are the same thing. So one comment I got a lot is, why not make it into a circle? I didn't make it into a circle, I made it into this line. And the reason I didn't make it into a circle is, yeah, a circle is not a bad idea because it still gets communism and Nazism and fascism to essentially the same place, but it doesn't do as a nice job illustrating the minimal government to the maximum government control. And that's why I thought of the circle idea, but that's the reason I didn't do that. Now, you haven't read up here that the various things that I want to focus on that I got in the comments. So a lot of them were, what is anarchy? And, anarchy is not what you think it is and all of that. And I will say this, like the video has like over a 95% like ratio, which is excellent. And most of the people were really, really positive and like, wow, this is cool. I hadn't heard about this before. I have heard about this before, and this is a nice way to hear it. But anarchy is one I got a lot where people were saying anarchy doesn't mean chaos, right? And yes, technically that is correct. If you really want to get into the weeds on it, and I did in my other video, so here I will. The word anarchy comes from the ancient Greeks, specifically Athens, that had archons that ruled over them. And for a while, there were no archons in Athens. No archon and archy. So technically, no government. I used it in the sense of, what I think the average person hears the word anarchy and they think, what kind of world is it when there's anarchy? There is chaos. And some people didn't like that. They thought, no, anarchy doesn't mean chaos. But if you're looking at it again, the whole point of this video I made is I'm not looking at it in terms of what are the literal definitions of communism, fascism, and Nazism, but more what is it like in the real world. I definitely think, if you think of anarchy, it is definitely an idea of a lot of chaos. Another thing that I got is the terms liberal and conservative. What do they mean? And this is one I wish I did, because I actually talk about this in my other lectures that I cover 19th century liberalism and 19th century conservatism. And one of the points I make is conservatives and liberals, those words change meaning over time, right? A 19th century liberal is not what a liberal is today. Conservative is not always the same meaning where they are. So I thought that was a very fair kind of critique and point that I wish I had explained a little bit more nuanced. But definitely I was using the words in the sense of, more minimal governments. People who are traditionally conservative want more minimal government. Now, the one comment that I got that I was like, what the heck are people thinking? Is communism is not authoritarianism. So I totally acknowledge like the whole I should have explained what conservatism is and liberalism is, and how they change meanings a little bit over time. And there wasn't many, thank God, but there were enough comments of people trying to tell me that communism is not authoritarianism. Funny, I didn't get that about Nazism or fascism. Only the communism side seemed to pop that up. And again, I don't know what reality people are living in, whether you're looking any communist nation, and people are trying to say, well, you look at the details of things like what Marx really wanted to do. I mean, even if you read Karl Marx and you read the Communist Manifesto, the specific ideas in it are very much authoritarian. It's all about government control. So that was one I was kind of a little bit worried that there were some people who said that. Another comment I got quite often is conservatives like big government, and so it shouldn't be on the more limited size of government side. And I even made this point in the original video that yes, are there times a conservative or a Republican wants more government control than Democrats? I fully acknowledge that in my original video, explaining how yes, there are some places where some political positions they do want more government control. But if we're honest and objective, and you make a list of things that people who would associate themselves more with the current party or Democrats versus the current party or Republicans, the ones who are current party of the Democrats would want more regulations. Now, some people think that's great, right? Some people think we need more regulations and more control on the environment and on education and all of these things, and other people don't. But I don't think it's a very honest sell to try to say, well, conservatives believe in big government. And usually that was followed by, well, conservatives are fascist, which is also just insane. And I have my other video on fascism that's done really well also, and you need to watch that as well. And so, I think that was another kind of comment that I got a lot that I thought I wanted to address. Another one that was interesting is just why don't you reverse the line? That people go, I absolutely agree with this, but that, anarchy should be on the right and communism, fascism on the left of this line. That's fine. I mean, you could flip this either way. The point is, on one side, you have limited government. On the other side, you had more. And then finally, another comment I got a lot is use the Nolan chart. And I kind of, people said I like the Nolan chart, and that's kind of what I did in this quadrant model I explained. The Nolan chart, it's a good little test. If you've never done it, you could do the Nolan test, and it kind of breaks it down into these 4 different quadrants of where you would be based on various things. It's about like a 20-question quiz I found, and it's good if you want to ever do it. This is kind of a sample of a 20-question reply that I put there. So those are just some of the comments and reactions I got. Obviously, it doesn't address every comment, and I haven't had a chance to read all of them. I'm grateful that most of them were really, really positive. I hope this video continues to do really well, and I hope people, appreciate that I'm taking some time to reply to some of these comments this way. I don't do this for many of my videos because most of my videos don't get this many views. I wish they did. So do watch more of my other stuff. I have some videos, and I can leave here for you on, again, what is fascism, and playlist on all sorts of great material I have. And I just appreciate everybody watching and being this interested in it. And overall, most of the comments were really good, respectful, and I think that's awesome. It says a lot about all of you guys who are watching my stuff. So thank you. I hope you found that interesting as well, and leave your comments. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you.